So for this video, we are going to show a simple chest harness that is front loading, side loading, and back loading. This is, in my opinion, the simplest chest harness to self-tie. It doesn't require you to tie behind your back, which is excellent for me and my really bad shoulders and hypermobility. However, it can be a little bit more uncomfortable, but pros and cons with everything. So for this one, I'm going to get them bite, and I'm going to start with a single column. For this one, I find it easier because I have like pinchy nerves in my shoulders. I find it easier to start at the top wrap and build downwards. However, it does mean when you go to do the shoulder straps that you do need to do a little wiggle up the stem to get it back in that direction. You can build from bottom up if it's comfortable for your shoulders to do so, but my preference is top down. So I'm going to start with my first single column. I'm going to start with a reverse tension lark's head single column. My preference for this is with nylon, I don't need to worry about wearing the bite down. Because I forgot my stem is in the middle of my cleavage for this one. Cool, so hopefully the audio is okay. I'm building the single column in the middle of my chest. So I'm just still doing the reverse tension lark's head. If you tying with natural fiber, please use a Eastern style bulla bulla or equivalent so you don't put extra wear onto your bite. Cool, so I'm just adjusting this. I prefer mine first wrap to be quite low on my breasts or my chest. It should be kind of sitting central on the pectoral muscles. I have been told previously that you should build it above the cleavage, but I feel like that was done by a man who doesn't have terrain. And I always find it's most comfortable to have a lot of pressure here rather than up here. So I'm just placing that where I would like it, and just making sure, getting my finger in the back and making sure that all my lines are nice and flat and following the train tracks. Cool, so I'm just finishing up with my single column, my little hair pitch here. Cool. Once I pull that through, I will have completed my half pitch. Perfect. Cool. I'm just going to make that so it's downwards. Perfect. Cool. So again, middle of the chest. Now we're going to do our second wrap. If you are tying in natural fiber, you can do this next step because you are going to be reverse tensioning off two individual ropes instead of, or two individual lines instead of just one like the bite. So doesn't matter if you go right or left, whichever is your preference of pulling your arms around. So I'm going to make a little stem. It's important not to do this and then come and grab the stem because then the tension won't be, it'll be very tight here and not tight here. So I'm going to make my little stem, bring it around, holding my stem in place and taking my running lines underneath my stem and reversing the tension. Now, placement for this second band, I personally prefer mine to be so far underneath my breast tissue. I can't get it to where my preference is in this bodysuit. If I was wearing a crop top or no top at all, I would literally have it underneath my breast tissue as far up as possible. It feels far more comfortable up there than lower down on my ribs, but everybody has a preference, so just trial and error and see where it works best on your body. So making sure all my lines are flat and there's no twists. I'm going to reverse the tension. I'm going to bring it all the way around our body. If you can't grab up here to pass the rope, have it down low, grab it low, do what works for you and your body, and then just shimmy it back up. Cool. So we're going to come to the front. We'll have a little U shape here, and we're going to bring our rope in the middle of that and through. Before I lock, I'm just going to check all of my tensions and placement. As you can see, I do like mine pretty close, but that's individual for every person. Cool, so here we're going to do a munter hitch. We're going to reverse the tension, take our running ends underneath our bottom band and up. Then we're going to choke our stem to complete our munter hitch, and we're going to bring it back down on the other side underneath everything. Perfect. At this point, I will just take it to the opposite side and just do a half hitch. So make a little loop, shove your tails through. Real technical stuff here, guys. Once we've done our half hitch, I will commonly suspend off just this. My personal preference is for no shoulder straps, just because I have really bad traps here, so they can get really tight and really nervy and not all that fun when I'm in suspension. And because I have the landscape to do so, I can suspend just off the 2 wraps here, basically a double column. However, you do run the risk of it collapsing together over the terrain and it becomes spicy waist rope, which is fine for me because I know that my torso is shorter than my hip length. So as soon as my hips are in the air, I won't hit the ground with my head. However, if you have a longer torso and your chest rope has slipped to your waist, you do run the risk of potentially smacking your head on the ground. And then that means your critical line in the air has changed. So please be aware of that. But for me, I know even if it slips into my spicy waist rope, yeah, it hurts and it's less than ideal, but it's not going to mean my critical line and my head is hitting the ground, which is the most important thing to stop. Cool. So at this point, I can suspend off this. However, if you are tying in natural fibers, please remember to reinforce your stem by just doing a little squiggle. Now we're going to come up and we're ready to do our shoulder straps. For this one, actually, I'm going to, no, it doesn't matter. I will tie a new rope in, because knowing me, I will go to show you and it will be in the most inconvenient place possible. So I'm just going to join my ropes. Now, to avoid tying behind your shoulder back, because I cannot, I'm gonna look at like a cool, so like I was this rich bitch with a fancy scarf. So now it's hanging over our shoulders. We're going to bring our rope back to the front. We're going to take our running end and we're going to take it under both the top band as well as the bottom band. So we're going to bring everything through there. I do have 10 meters of rope. Cool. So now once we've got it underneath both bands, all we're going to do is we're going to take it to the back and you're going to take your right hand, if right is your dominant hand, and we're just going to shimmy it. Cool. Perfect. Now to do the other shoulder, bring it over. As you can see, you don't necessarily need to have your shoulder straps going under both top and bottom band. The reason for that being is your shoulder straps are really only there for additional support. They're not your critical oh shit line. They're not your critical part of the harness. The critical part of this harness is the first single column and the second single column. So I'm just going to readjust the rope here. Sorry for bashing the mic, everyone. To bring attention to that. Cool. So at this point, what we can do is we can either go above or underneath. This point is really up to you because the shoulder straps are only just keeping this top band from pulling down. So here is just literally dealer's choice. Oops, I've just undone exactly what I've done. Cool. And take it all the way down. What you can do is you can come and twist around the stem if you please. Reverse the tension and head back over your shoulders. So I'm going to flick that over my shoulder. I'm trying not to bash the mic, everyone. Making sure my shoulder straps are nice and flat. And again, I flicked it over the shoulder. Then I'm going to bring my rope underneath both bands. Pull it all the way through. Cool. And then we're just going to take it low and shift it to where we would like it placed. And just making sure that's where I would like it on my shoulders. Cool. Then we're going to bring it up over second shoulder, and my tensions are not the greatest on this first strap, so just kind of ignore that. Cool. I want to bring it underneath this side because this side's going over, just to make sure I'm really picking up on this top wrap. To make sure my top wrap is flat because that will pinch in the air. Cool. So we're going to ignore my really poor tension on this first strap, pretending I have the greatest tension because I am infallible. Anyway, so at this point we've gone under, so we can go over this stem, around this side, and create a little loop and pull our tails through. At this point we are well and truly done because again the stability part is the initial double column. So I'm just going to make sure all my lines are nice and flat. If I wanted to make this nice, I guess I could come and do a single wrap around there. I don't know, do a little half hitch here. Basically use up the rope however you can. You can do a few more wraps around here if you're really needing to kill a whole heap of rope like I am. However, when you go to pick up on this harness, don't get these ones because they're not part of the harness. Alternatively, you could keep going and make a harness for the lower part of your body with some chaos rope, so you can like take it down to your thighs, come back over here, munter hitch, bring it around, and munter hitch, and probably finish it there at that point. But again, that's mostly decorative. However, depending how you load this, that might load, so make better choices than I did here. But again, it's just showing you can just use up the rest of the rope. If you already have a bottom harness, you can create a connection between the bottom harness and the chest harness with your extra rope, and that actually creates a lot more support around the core. So I will just go back a few steps and show you where I would set hangers on this harness. Cool, so just going to leave this at the back like a little awful dino tail. Get it out of the way for this demonstration. Now, for hangers for this chest harness, grab our little red rope. Cool. So, for this harness, the first hanger I would do is around this stem. So the idea of the hangers is to equally load both bands. So I'll take my bite underneath, making sure my bite comes through the middle of the chest harness, split my lines on either side of my stem, making sure that this is directly underneath, bring up all my loops together, just like this, collect them all in one cute little squid, clip my carabiner, flick it like I'm cool, choke it, because we all like choking here. Well, not everyone, but anyway. And there we go. That's how I would do the hanger from the front part of my harness. Second way you could do a hanger on this harness is to take your bite up underneath your bands, bring it up like this, collect the middle stem, bring it all together, making sure you're loading your hanger in the direction that you are intending to load it for the most amount of time. Flick it like I'm cool. And you now have a side loading hanger that kind of moves all the way to the back, and you can even use this for the back as well. It just won't be super central in the back, but it is what it is. And then you can also bring it all the way around as well, so you can kind of do some cool tricks like that. So they're the main two styles of hangers I would do. Because of my hypermobility, it means I can't really effectively tie behind my back. However, Silb can, and Silb can tie an actual hanger on the stem of their back, which you can do in the exact same way that we did at the front, just behind your back with your eyes closed. But yeah, that's how you do this very simple, somewhat potentially uncomfortable chest harness, but it is quite simple because you don't have to tie behind your back. Thanks for watching.